sure.
All right. Okay. Is it going? Yeah, it's going.
Okay, welcome to our Arduino board. When we plug this in, the first thing that will happen is the red LED lights will blink 4 times together, and then the green one will go on. Okay. Now, when we press the first button over there, that is link to 2, all 3 red and green LEDs will flash in sequence with 1/4 seconds between each change. Let's go ahead. As long as that's held down, this will happen. When that's released, it goes back to green. If only the second light is pressed, then the 3 red and green LED lights will blink simultaneously with 1/2 second in between each blink. And when that's released, it'll go back to green. And now when both buttons are pressed, then only the blue light will go on and everything will turn off. Ta-da!
Yay!
Okay, so now we are going to explain the code that actually makes our circuit work. So here you can see we have initialized and declared button 2 and button 6, so those are attached to input 2 and 6, which is why we label them that way. So then for this, it's not letting me scroll. Okay. For this next part, here you can see we set up so that pins 3, 4, 5, and 7 are outputs and they correspond to these lights, and pins 2 and 6 are inputs. Now for this next part, this is what controls what happens when we first turn the circuit on. So it's going to start at k equals 0, and it's going to go to k equals 3, and every time it's going to add a value that goes through. So that's going to make it blink through 4 times. So first we have pin 4 and 5 on high, and then there's a delay, and then pin 4 and 5 are on low. So that's just going to make the lights turn on and then off. And it's going to do that 4 times, so it's going to blink. Next part.
Okay, next we go into the loop method. It's going to begin by saying that the variables button 2 and button 6 are the inputs from the 2 and 6 pins as given by the digital read methods. And then we're going to go through a series of if-else statements here. So the first case is if neither button is pressed. What will happen is the output on 3, the LED light. Okay, so there are four cases I go through the if-else statements. First of all, if neither button is pressed, you'll see that the output for the pin 3, which is the green LED, will be high. And then the second case, if the button on 2 is pressed, I believe, what will happen, that's right, so if the button 2 is pressed and the button 6 is not pressed, as given by the statement here, what will happen is the lights will go through a sequence by having each one of the LEDs outputs turn on high, the rest low, and having a delay of 250 milliseconds between each. The third case is if the reverse happens and button 2 is not pressed, so that's low, and button 6 is pressed high. In this case, the 3 lights that are not blue, so the red, red, green, they will all turn on simultaneously, delay for 1/2 second, so 500 milliseconds, and then all turn off, go to low, and then delay for another 500 milliseconds. And all of these cases will repeat it as long as the scenario doesn't change, as long as the case is the same. And finally, if both buttons are pressed down, then everything except for the blue light on output 7 will turn off and the blue light will turn on. And the loop will repeat.